Hello, students. So today, we did our quiz, and then we also did a little bit of time with right triangles, with Pythagorean theorem, especially, and we'll pick up next week with the trig ratios. But your Pythagorean theorem, many of you remembered the formula, but then just doing a little bit of practice actually using it. So just remember that anytime you've got a right triangle, there's a right angle that touches the sides that we call A and B. And then the side that's the longest side, the hypotenuse, is called C. And so the A and the B, it doesn't really matter which one you call A and which one you call B. They're interchangeable. The important thing is that the letter C is the longest side. That's why you have the A squared plus B squared adding up to make C squared. So you can kind of remember C is bigger. And then remember, the way that you solve for it is you actually take the square root at the end to get back down to the level of A and B. So I'll give you just a little example. Let's say I have a triangle with a 3 and a 4, and I don't know what that hypotenuse is. There's the right angle, so I know that the question mark is a hypotenuse. I can set up my A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared. I chose pretty nice, easy numbers. 9 plus 16 makes C squared. 9 plus 16 makes 25 equals C squared. And one thing I saw a lot of y'all doing in class was then squaring your answer. So doing 25 times 25. Well, then you get a huge answer. And it wouldn't make sense to have a triangle that is like 3 by 4 by 625. That's too much of a difference between the sides. The sides all need to be kind of in the same zone. And so we take the square root right here to get that C equals 5. And that makes more sense, 3, 4, and 5, as the side lengths of a triangle. 3, 4, and 625, you wouldn't be able to make that a triangle. The two small sides wouldn't line up with the huge side there. So just make sure that you're asking yourself whether or not the side lengths that you got actually makes sense for a triangle. Um, One other example would be sometimes you know the hypotenuse. So maybe I know the hypotenuse here, and I know this other leg, but I don't know one of the missing legs. Well, remember that we add the legs together to find the hypotenuse. So then you go backwards here. We're going to subtract the leg from the hypotenuse to find the missing leg. So I can set it up 5 squared plus b squared equals 13 squared. Some people like to set it up that way. Or if you want, you can just skip right to this second step where we're doing hypotenuse squared minus leg squared like that. And so then that comes out to be 13 times 13 is 169. 5 times 5 is 25. Subtract those, you get 144. I think, do I square this number or do I square root it? Well, if you square 144, you get a number that's way up in the thousands. That doesn't make sense for a triangle that's only got 5 and 13 on the other sides. So we square root to get rid of squaring, and that tells us that b is 12. So I chose nice numbers on purpose so that I knew I would get nice answers. The other thing that the Pythagorean theorem does for you is it lets you tell if something is a right triangle. So let's pretend I have a triangle, and I'm not sure if it's a right triangle. Maybe it looks kind of like a right triangle, but I'm just not 100% sure. Let's say it's 7, 8, and 10. It's like, well, the 10's bigger than the 7 and 8, so maybe it's a hypotenuse. We don't know. So what you do is you just check. Does 7 squared plus 8 squared? Sometimes I like to put a question mark when I'm checking. Does that really equal 10 squared? We'll see. 7 squared is 49. 8 squared is 64. 10 squared is 100. And those do not add up. What is that? So that's a 3. 113, unless I messed that up. Yeah, so 113 does not equal 100. So it's not a right triangle. Okay, so Pythagorean theorem works both ways. If you know it's a right triangle, then you know a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And if you have three sides, you can figure out if it's a right triangle. So that's a useful tool. All right, like, comment, whatever you need, ask questions. I'll make some more videos to help out. Thanks for watching.